Welcome to the Prioritize You podcast, your go-to for connection and support in your journey of prioritizing your health in the chaos of motherhood. I'm your host, Brittany, health, fitness, and nutrition coach and mom of 3. I've navigated the depths of postpartum challenges, and through personal experience and 15 years of professional experience as a health and fitness coach, I was able to develop practical systems and frameworks to not only stay afloat, but to thrive physically and mentally. It's called the Prioritize You method. Say farewell to the pressures of perfection and restrictive routines. No more guilt, no more rigid regimens, no more burpees, just a compassionate space where self-love and sustainable practices are the goal. It's time to rediscover your energy, enthusiasm, and confidence as you take on the most kind and gentle journey of prioritizing you. Let's do this. I'm right here with you, promise. Hi, hello. Welcome back to the Prioritize You podcast. I feel like I took a little bit of a hiatus, so my apologies on completely ghosting you here on the podcast, but I am back and I really am excited to talk to you guys about this topic today because I think it's overlooked a lot. And so we are going to talk about how taking care of yourself is a habit. And also, on the flip side of that, not taking care of yourself is also a habit, okay? And I know that's a lot to swallow. I know that's a lot to take in, but truly, you not prioritizing yourself, you not putting yourself first, that's a habit that you created. Even if you didn't mean to, even if that was not your intention, was to completely take yourself off of your to-do list, to completely neglect your needs, it was a habit nonetheless, okay? And so I just want you to be open-minded as we go through this episode because I am really excited to just share with you that this, while yes, happened, and while yes, it's become a norm for you, and while yes, it is a habit that you have right now, habits can change. We have the ability to change our habits. We have the ability to implement new habits. And so I want to just share with you just a thought process, okay, for you to take on this week and just try it out for size, okay? So I want you to think about all of the ways you're not taking care of yourself. And I know that seems counterintuitive to growth, right? But I think a lot of times we need to think about what we don't want and to think about what we aren't doing so that we can create and see the gaps of what we do want. And what I mean by that is, let's say you're like, okay, I'm not taking care of myself because I'm not going to the gym, or I'm not moving my body. I'm not prioritizing movement at all. My body has aches and pains and I can feel it. I am not moving enough. Okay. So now that we know that, we can recognize that there's this gap where you need movement in your life. And I just think it's a powerful way to go about it, right? Is look at what you're not doing. Look at the things that you don't want. You don't want aches and pains, right? You don't want to feel like crap all of the time. But that hasn't stopped you so far. So what we need to do is, like I said, create these new habits. And so if you recognize that yep, not going to the gym right now is a habit that I have habits of doing other things instead. Okay, what is a very, very small way that you could start moving your body? I use this example all of the time, but I had a client once who wanted to work out for 30 minutes. Actually, I think her original goal was 60 minutes. She wanted to work out. No, it was 30. It was 30. Sorry. So her original goal was she wanted to work out for 30 minutes on her lunch break every single day. She wanted to go from zero, what she was doing, to working out for 30 minutes every single day on her lunch break. She had an hour, knew it was realistic, knew her body could handle it. It was a beginner's program, but she wasn't super confident because she had tried before and it hadn't worked, whatever. So what she ended up doing was one jumping jack for an entire week. One, like on Monday, she did one jumping jack at lunch, and that was it. And then the next week we talked about it, how it went, and she just grew from there. She did 2 jumping jacks the next week. We got to the point where she was doing 1 jumping jack every single day at lunch. And then she built up. And so she created this new habit, a sustainable habit. And it was in a way that worked for her. It was in a way that served her schedule, her needs, her body, her capacity. It lowered all the barriers for entry, right? To get her started on this new habit. And so, yeah, I just want you to think about, like, how can you incorporate something like that into your life? So let's say that right now, let's switch from movement. Let's talk about nutrition for a second. If you're like, okay, right now it's not necessarily my habit to take care of myself nutritionally. Like, I am just kind of like eating odds and ends of what my kids leave on their plate. I am not drinking enough water. I'm not really prioritizing, like I'm not getting my vitamins in. I'm not getting enough protein. I'm not doing anything when it comes to that. Okay, well, that's a habit, right? It's a habit for you to not be doing those things. And it's a habit for you to kind of overlook them as less important than taking care of your kids, as it seems, right? Because you're feeding your kids, but you're not feeding you. And so all we've got to do is think of something so incredibly small that could take care of you, that could prioritize you, and work your way up from there. And this is going to be different for every single person. So maybe for you, you're like, you know what is a really easy way for me to get started is just, I just need to like start drinking water. Okay, have your water bottle full at your desk when you're working. Maybe you drink water in the morning before your coffee, right? To just help get things started. Maybe you are like, you know what? I'm actually fine with water. It's like food. I'm not eating enough food and I know I'm not. I'm exhausted and whatever. Okay, maybe a protein shake is something that's really easy for you to do every single day just to like get you in the habit of even like having a meal. I think that's one thing that gets overlooked a lot of times with protein shakes is people are like, well, we shouldn't just be replacing our meals with protein. No, but for a lot of moms, like not even having meals is a literal problem. Like I know even for me, a health, fitness, nutrition, lifestyle, life coach, wellness coach, whatever, I still sometimes will be like, oh my God, I fed the kids lunch and I didn't even feed me. Like, what am I doing? It'll be like 2:00 and I haven't had lunch. So even for someone who it is a habit for me to take care of myself and it is a habit to prioritize myself, it still happens to me as well. So number one, you're not alone, but number two, there's a fix. There's a way we can work on this, right? And so kind of popping back over to the protein shake, I think a lot of times it gets overlooked as like protein becomes a meal replacement for people. And it's like, you know what? Sometimes it becomes just a meal for people. Sometimes it's just getting yourself in the habit of eating again and taking care of yourself in that way. And that is such an important part of showing up for yourself. And yeah, I just don't want that to get overlooked as like, it's an option. Do we want to have a protein shake every single day for the rest of your life? No, but can we have that be like your gateway drug to like having a real meal every single day? Yes, of course we can. And it also is just a really great filler. I use protein shakes all of the time. Like they're just really nice to like fill in the gaps sometimes. So yeah, just like keep that in mind. Another thing could be like, you know what, I'm eating okay, but I'm not getting enough vegetables in. So like this is a personal thing for me right now. I'm not getting enough vegetables in right now. And so for me, something that I'm thinking about is like, okay, if I know I need to get in some more vegetables, what's a way I could do that? Well, for me in the past, historically, it has worked for me to like cut and prep some stuff up and like have it like separated out or like in little either Ziploc bags or little glass containers in the fridge so that I know, okay, it's already done. It is already made. It is sitting on top of the hummus. Now you just have to eat it. You know what I mean? So again, it's creating the habit again of like eating the vegetables, have them as a snack. So yeah, we just have to like remember that we're building habits here. And in order to build habits, they have to be small before they can even be, right? Because if you think about it, when people are like, well, I'm really good at like implementing huge habits into my life. No, you're not. You're probably just really good at implementing big things into your life for short periods of time. You likely haven't turned it into a habit unless you eased into it in a small way first. And like, I hate to burst your bubble, like I hate to be rude, but I'm probably right. You know what I mean? Like, there's a very small percentage of people who can just take on like huge new things and just implement them into their lives. And now they're this new beautiful habit and they continuously do them until the end of time. It just doesn't really work like that. But we need to use that to our advantage. Okay, now we know that. Okay, so let's implement some small things. Okay. So, all right, there were just like a couple of examples of ways to just kind of break down the fact that we know that you're not taking care of yourself. We know that that's a habit of yours right now. And now we can think about how we can take small action to create the habit of taking care of yourself. And remember, it just needs to be small because if it's big, it will not last. Okay. And we just need to take it easy and take it slow. But truthfully, the biggest thing that we need to do first is acknowledge the fact that you've created a habit of not taking care of yourself. And again, I know that sucks to hear. I have to admit it to myself sometimes too. But when you just can look yourself in the mirror and say, you know what? I kind of let this happen. I kind of let myself get to the point where I was completely off of my priority list. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't have a more supportive partner. I'm not saying that your mental health didn't have a big part of this. I'm not saying that your kids shouldn't be a priority in your life. I'm not saying any of that. But we do have to acknowledge our own part in that. Okay, because look, I had postpartum depression and anxiety and still very much struggle with my mental health on a daily basis. But that does not mean that I didn't have a part in neglecting my needs. And just in the same way that I neglected my needs, I now have the responsibility for putting my needs first. And so that's what I want you to take from this episode is I'm not trying to give you, tough love, and I'm not trying to come at you with like, oh, you did this to yourself. No, I am truly just trying to come to you from like a place of love and a place of I have been there and quite honestly am there with you at times still. And we need to take ownership of the fact that we do have the ability to say, yeah, you know what? It has been a habit of mine to not take myself seriously, to not put my needs first, to not prioritize myself, but I'm not doing that anymore. And I'm going to take small action every single day so that this doesn't continue to happen to me because I have seen how it just gets worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. I become lower and lower and lower on my priority list. I have the ability to flip that script. Okay? You do have the ability to flip that script. And do you want to know what? All the moms that I talk to, it never fails. When I'm talking to my clients about, well, why do you want to do this? Why do you want to take care of yourself? What brings you to the point of hiring a coach? The love of a mom runs so deep because it never fails. My moms always say, I want to be the best mom that I can. I want to be able to show up for my kids. I want to be there. I want to be me. I want to like be authentically myself and feel strong and powerful. And I want to like be able to take on my day without feeling so defeated all of the time. I want to feel better physically, right? Like my moms are always saying how much they want to feel good. And you have the ability to do that. And I want you to know that in order to do that, you have to put yourself first. You have to be the one to make the choice to show up. You have to be the one to say, yep, I don't want to do this today, but I'm going to because I know it's what I need. You have to be the one because no one's going to do it for you. And I know that's not fucking fair. And I know that feels so shitty all of the time. But you deserve to be the one to put you back up on your fucking pedestal, because if someone did it for you, it wouldn't feel as good. Okay? I promise you it wouldn't feel as good. So, yeah, I'll leave you with this. Just remember that you're worthy. Just remember that you matter. Just remember that you're enough. And if no one has told you that lately, I'm so sorry. But I need you to know to your core that you matter. And I need you to know that showing up for yourself and creating habits in your life that serve you is a superpower. And you are incredible and you deserve that. And I hope you have the most amazing day because you deserve it. And I love you so much. Thank you so much for tuning into the Prioritize You podcast. If you got something out of this episode, it would mean the world to me if you would screenshot this and share it on your stories or just share it with a friend. Just imagine if we could all prioritize our needs as moms. I just feel like the world would be a better place if moms were more well taken care of. And if you feel like, oh my God, Brittany, I need support like right now, I get it and I've got you. Go to my website and fill out the coaching application and let's get this process started. All right, I'll see you all on my Instagram between episodes. I'd love to hear from you. So send me a DM and let's chat about how you can start to prioritize you. And maybe I'll just create an episode around any questions that you might have. You can also leave a rating and review on iTunes. It really helps me get this message out there and connect with more moms who are in this same position as us. Thank you again, and I'll see you in the next episode.